Alohu. Eshkala Henule Abotenu. Abiyago Bieska Babiako. Atakwados. Veshmeka Kwados. Shemeka Lola Maye. Vishaman Bene Israel El Shabbat La So El Shabbat Le Dolotam Bili Ola. Beni Bene Israel Otilola. Kisha Sheka Masa Eshadai Wa Shemayim. Where to Adet Subayom Masbi Shabbat Waina Fash. Baruch Shemeka, Baruch Yemeneka, Baruch Tolateka, Baruch Kedushateka, El Shaddai Malek, El Shaddai Malak, El Shaddai Imlo Lolam Wahe, Baruch Shem Kabor Makuto Lolam Wahe, Baruch Kabor Lohim Mi Kamo Malek Yom, Aluhu Lolam Wahe. First of all, I'd like to give all honor and praise to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the great mighty and revered God, the Most High God, who bestows loving kindness and possesses all things, who remembers the pious deeds of the patriarchs, the Most High, slow of anger, great in kindness, forgiving iniquity and transgression, but who by no means clear the guilty, visiting iniquities of fathers upon children to the third and fourth generation. The Most High's work is perfect for all his ways of justice, a God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right and seated. You may be seated. Giving due respect and honor to my father, Chief Eleazar, to the chief priest, princes, brothers and sisters, I say unto the tongue of my forefathers, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
This is one of the appointed times. This is one of the appointed times of God. This is one of the appointed times of God. It's called Shavuote, meaning Feast of Weeks, Feast of Ingathering. All right? We was commanded by the Creator to count the Omer. We was commanded by God to count the Omer, and on the 50th day, to have another holy convocation, a holy gathering. Okay? Now, these days are supposed to be, we had three appointed times that we were supposed to observe in Jerusalem, which was Feast of Booths, Feast of Unleavened Bread, and Feast of Weeks. Okay? These appointed times, we were commanded by God to go to Jerusalem. And if we observe these days in any other area or place besides Jerusalem, it was going to be a problem with God. It was going to be this heavy consequences. So now, there's no way we're going back to Jerusalem because God done kicked us out the land because we refused to hearken to his word. We refused to hearken to his commandments. We refused and we rejected his statutes. So God kicked us out the land because the only thing that would have kept us in the land was fulfilling the laws and the commandments and the statutes of God.
Yeah.
So when we turned against God, God turned on us. I said, when we turned against God, God turned his back on us. When God turned his back on you, things begin to go wrong. Things begin to go wrong. Okay? And not because things is going right with you means God is with you. Understand that. Because people got the erroneous idea that they're doing good in life and they're successful. God must be with you. That don't mean that. It don't mean that because you got money, God is with you. It don't mean that you have a good job and you're successful, God is with you. Because we are violating these laws and nothing is happening to you, which means God has driven himself far away from you because you have not gained his attention. See, when these chastisements comes from God, it's because we have gained some type of attention from God. So he chastises us and rebukes us and reprimands us to bring us back to our right frame of mind, which is acknowledge your fault and correct it. Acknowledge your fault and correct it. This is acknowledge your fault and correct it with God. Acknowledge your fault and correct it between each other. Okay? But we can't correct our fault. We can't correct our fault with each other because you didn't correct your fault with God. Huh? You didn't correct your fault with God, man. These laws is as hard as you make it. These commandments is as hard as you make it. You made them hard. It ain't hard to a man with a willing heart. It ain't hard to a man with the determination to serve God. Because, listen, our whole duty on this earth is to serve God and keep his commandments. That's our whole duty. That's the reason why we live in today. That is our purpose in life. Supposed to be our purpose in life. But everybody's purposes in life is misconstrued. My purpose ain't your purpose. Your purpose is not that person's purpose. And this is why we don't have the one mind principle. We don't have the one mind principle. Because each and every one of our heads, our minds, is complete, is a mind of its own. It's a mind of its own. You understand? Let's go into Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23. Got it?
Leviticus chapter 23. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation.
Okay, he says, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord. You know what's the word for feast? It says moadai. Moadai means appointed times. The appointed times of God. These are times and seasons that God has picked out and said, this is a very important time. This is commemoration of this. So we are to fulfill and acknowledge these times in commemoration of when we went through this. Right. This is why we keep these feast days and keep these appointed times, because it's to remind us of what we went through. It's to remind us of what our forefathers went through. It's a commemoration of what our forefathers went through. So this is why we need to keep these things going, to keep our mind one track towards God. We need to keep these days, to keep our mind right with the Creator. Tamshi.
Concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation.
Holy convocations.
Even these are my feasts.
Even these are my feasts. Holy convocation is a holy gathering. A holy gathering is a gathering of people. Okay? So what we are supposed to do on these appointed times is gather and speak about holy things. Okay? If you're not able to gather and you don't have a camp to gather with, by all means, you can stream. But if you are near camp where you can gather and congregate like God said, then you need to be in the convocation.
That's right.
Okay? Let's not take away and let's not add on by the things that we do, things that we do in life that we don't read in the book.
Yeah.
We don't read it in the book, but you're doing it. You're adding on. You don't read it in the book, but you're doing it. You're taking away. So again, let's leave the streaming for the people that can't gather and congregate. But if you can gather and congregate and get to a congregation, by all means, gather and congregate. Why is that important? Because God said.
That's right.
I didn't say it. I didn't write this book. This is nowhere near man's thoughts. This is God's thoughts. This is God's mindset. We're reading about the mindset of God. You hear that? When we read this book, we are reading how God thinks. We are learning how God thinks by reading what? The first 5. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, those powerful books came directly out the mouth of God. Moses wrote it. Then he was commanded to take the law and put it in the Ark of the Covenant. The only one that had the book at that point in time was the high priest. Then when we asked for a king, God commanded the king to write a copy of that book, of those first five from the high priest. And he commanded him to read therein all the days of his life, so that his heart don't be lifted up above his brethren. So these laws would keep you humble. The laws of God, the effects of reading this book is what's going to keep you humble. That's humility. Right. That's right. Humility. That's what reading does. It humbles you. That's right. Why? Why? Because God tells us what we can and what we cannot do to each other. And we cannot allow our emotions and our feelings to get the best of us. Right. Because when we allow our emotions and feelings to get the best of us, then comes the interest of iniquity. Right. Because we're going to do things that is contrary from what God said. Tom sheet.
Verse 3, 6 days shall work be done.
6 days shall work be done.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest. A
holy convocation.
A holy convocation.
You shall do no work therein.
You shall do no work therein.
It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These
work. It wasn't specific on what type of work. It said, ye shall do no work therein. It wasn't specific on what kind of work. So guess what? We have to eradicate all types of work. Right. No, you can't wash your dishes. No. If you didn't wash your dishes before Friday when the sun set, you can't wash no dishes. The dishes stays in the sink until Saturday night when the Sabbath is over. One brother said, well, I got to wash dishes because it's going to bring roaches. Well, then bring roaches. I'm not afraid of roaches. I'm afraid of God. I'm afraid of God and what God would do to me if I wash that dish. Something spilled, I'm not going to grab the mop and mop. Why? Because I'm afraid of God. And I don't know how God will look at this if I start mopping. See, listen, this is the mentality we need to begin to have. You know why? Because we don't have Moses to go and inquire of God to get no answer. So now I have to think. I can't take chances with my life. I have to ask myself, what would God think if I mop? What would God think if I sweat? I don't know. What would God think if I arrange these chairs and set up? All these things got to be done from before the sunset.
Arranging.
So if I spill something, I'm not going to just leave it there. Wisdom is the principal thing. I will take some paper towel, suck up whatever is there, and guess what? After it sucks up everything, I'm kicking it to the side. Somebody spill a plate of food. What I'm going to do? I'm not going to leave it in the walkway. People got to walk. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it, kick it to the side, leave whoever spilled it could pick it up. I'm the one that spilled it. If I drop something, I could pick it up. I'm not going to pick it up for you. Why? Because I'm serving you and I'm working. Because I didn't drop it. I didn't drop it. I did not drop it. The person dropped it, he could pick it up. He dropped it. Let's read. We gotta take this thing here very serious and do these laws all the way. We gotta take it all the way there. You know why I said we gotta take it all the way there? There is no Moses to inquire of God. You cannot, there's no one here to go in the corner and inquire of God and get an answer. So we got to be careful. Because we may have done something out of line that God looked at and said, man, look at this guy. You know, violated.
Right.
You know, violated. I don't want that for myself.
Right. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month. I'm at 5.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which we shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month,
at even is the Lord's
Passover. Which is Pesach. It was only one Passover. There was never another Passover after that. The Passover this Passover came about when the nation of Israel was slaves in Egypt. All right? And the Creator had the nation put blood, was it lamb's blood? Lamb's blood on the doorpost and the upper doorpost. So that when the death angel passed over, he will see the sign, he will see the blood and pass over. Now, Christian says the lamb is the body of Jake, which is foolishness. JC wasn't even thought about. He wasn't even They just want to pollute everything.
Of course.
So now we after the death angel passed over and you see the blood, no one in that household would die. So that death angel passed over and killed all the firstborn. That's the Passover. Okay? Tamshi.
On the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Feast of Unleavened Bread. Khag matzot.
7 days he must
eat unleavened bread.
The first day you
shall have a holy convocation.
You shall do no servile work therein.
You shall do no servile work therein. Meleket aboda. Meleket aboda. Malaka is work, and abod or abad is servitude. This is why I don't serve nobody. And you can't serve me. Why? Because look, the maid servants and the men servants served. They got a day off. They didn't serve me. Why? Because it's Shabbat. The men servants was rested. The oxes, the animals, everything rested. Everything was on a standstill. Shabbaton meaning general strike. Okay? So I didn't serve you, you can't serve me. Work, what is it talking about? All types of work. No housework, no going to work on the job, no type of work we were commanded not to do. We cannot cook on this day. All the cooking had to be cooked and done before this day came in. The only day that God said that we can cook on was on the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Save only what that shall eat. Save only what you were supposed to eat on that. What you're going to eat, what you're going to have, then you can cook that. Okay? Tom sheet.
But you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord 7 days.
And you shall offer an offering made by fire. All right? 7 days, Tom sheet.
And the 7th day is a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
You shall do no servile work therein. Okay, so now the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is Khag matzot. How did the people make the bread leavened? What did they use to make the bread leavened? What did they have to make that bread leavened? Because they didn't have baking soda, baking powder, and they didn't have yeast. So how did they make this bread leavened? Okay, so now we're going to go into two key points, 3 key points. When they left out of Egypt, the kneading troughs was bound up, which means they couldn't knead the dough. They didn't have time to knead the dough. They could not knead that dough because the kneading troughs was bound up. So they didn't need the dough. All right? That's one point. The other point is in Hosea chapter 7, because a lot of people, we follow the Jews with everything.
Yeah.
I said we follow the Jews and everything. And what we're following is Judaism.
Thank you.
That's what we're following.
Thank you.
We're following Judaism.
Thank you.
And the Jews said that there's a certain amount of time you can knead the dough. Okay? They said what? 18 minutes. Now look, those matzos that's in the box was not needed for 18 minutes.
No, hours.
Huh?
Hours. It was needed for hours. It wasn't needed for 18 minutes. I said hours. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, hours.
Right. The matzos that they buy out from stores, that wasn't needed for 18 minutes. You know how long that was needed?
Yeah.
Look, they showed it on the Science Channel called How It Was Made. They took that dough and they put it in the machine, and it kneaded and beat the hell out that dough to where it was a big color, and they left it in there hours of kneading and kneading and kneading. When they came, that's why those matzos in their boxes are so light. That's not the bread of affliction. That's not the bread of no affliction. That's not bread of affliction. Is that what God said we should be eating?
No.
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 Yeah.
Now, let's go to Hosea chapter. Stay where you at. Stay where you at. Because I'm going back to Leviticus 23. But I want to give you a point in Hosea chapter 7, right? There it is. Okay, Hosea chapter 7, verse 4. It said, they are all adulterers, as an oven heated by the baker. When you are baking, you preheat the oven. Okay? As an oven heated by the baker, who ceased from raising after he had kneaded the dough until it be leavened. And you know how many times I done read this for brothers, and that part flies over their head? It flies right over. So basically, he said, you knead the dough until it be leavened. So what caused the dough to be leavened? The kneading. When you knead that dough, that's what's causing that dough to be leavened. Because you kneaded it. The kneading is what leavens the bread. Okay? Now let's go to 1 Samuel. Let me show you another point. In 1 Samuel, with the king. With King Saul. So now, King Saul is distorted. He is distorted. He's distorted, and he's sick to his stomach, because he wasn't getting an answer from God. He tried to get an answer from God. He tried everything, but God was so angry at him that he didn't give him an answer. Whatever prophet came to God, he didn't get no answer. Priest, nobody, God would not answer nothing that was concerning King Saul. Yeah. All right? So he went and inquired of the witch Endor. So one guy that would give me an answer is Samuel, but he's dead. So how am I going to get this guy to give me an answer? There's only one way to get him. Let me go seek out this witch Endor. Let me go seek out. Huh? Let me seek out. Went, sought out. He disguised himself by coming out of his kingly apparel. So when he went to the witch Endor, the witch Endor told him, he said, listen, man, you know how King Saul got rid of all the necromancers, got rid of all the witches, right? He said, don't worry about it. Thou shalt not die. He said, don't worry about it. He said, bring me up Samuel. So when she's bringing up Samuel, this is not no metaphor. This is real life. People look at it and say, oh, it's a metaphor. This ain't no metaphor.
Not at all. They don't believe it.
That's not a metaphor. Witches and warlocks can call up dead spirits.
Yes,
so while she was bringing up Samuel, whatever Samuel died in is how he went down. Whatever you die in is how you go. So you don't want to die in foreign apparel.
That's the appearance.
You don't want to die in an apparel or in clothes that God don't accept. You don't want to die like that. Because he's going to look at you strange.
you have on clothes or apparel that I didn't clothe you and give you. So when he's bringing up Samuel's on his way up, she made a sound. She made an outcry. She said, I see gods ascending, coming up out of the earth. And that's why she cried out like that, because I didn't call these guys. I called up Samuel. But he's coming up, and you got a mirage coming up with him. Right? Shotguns. So when he came up, see how King Saul was locked in? When Samuel came up, King Saul prostrated himself. Samuel looked at him and said, why hast thou disquieted me? Why are you disturbing me? To disturb means I was resting. I'm at peace. I'm not dead. You can't disturb a dead body. But you can disturb my spirit by bringing me up. So I'm resting. He said, why are you why hast thou disquieted me? Why are you disturbing me? King Saul laid out everything, told him what happened. He said, the last thing he said was, the Most High is not talking to me. He ain't answering. He said, and you want to get an answer from me? Huh? You want to get an answer from me? God has rejected thee. Look at here. Samuel said unto Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed for the Philistines. Make war against me. God has departed from me and answered me no more, neither by prophet nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee? And he said, why are you asking me? And God has departed from me. God has pushed you away, and you asking me like I'm supposed to give you an answer. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know. He said, the Lord has done to him as he spake by me, for the Lord had rent the kingdom out of thy hand. God done took the kingdom out of your hand and given it to what? To thy neighbor, even to David, King David. But it's not like Saul did not know. King Saul already perceived that he already knew that the kingship was taken from him and given to King David. That's why he chased him and chased him and wanted to take his life to keep the kingship within his in his seed, in his line. Right? Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executed his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. He said, listen, you're going to get delivered into the hand of the Philistines. He said, tomorrow, you and your sons going to be with me. His sons wasn't there his sons ain't do that. But the sins of the fathers rested upon the sins of his sons. God visited what Saul did upon his own sons. So now you gonna go and your sons coming with you. He said, but y'all gonna be with me.
Gonna be with me.
He said, y'all gonna be with me. Don't worry about it. Remember, the lot of the righteous.
That's right.
Shall not rest upon the lot of the wicked.
Right.
So when Samuel told King Saul, he said, you gonna die tomorrow, man. He said, but you and your sons gonna be with me. Y'all good. Y'all good.
They're righteous.
Huh? Because
his sons is righteous.
His sons is righteous. And King Saul was still righteous. He just messed up. He messed up.
That's right.
You gotta watch what we say against men.
Thank you.
These men that God put in high places.
Right.
King Saul.
Thank you.
King David.
Right.
The 12 sons.
Right.
Huh? The 12 sons of Yaakov. These are the patriarchs.
Right.
These are the pace setters that we look. This is the originality in the beginning of a tribe. Reuben, he's the father of all Reubenites. Simeon, Levi, They're the heads of those tribes.
Forefathers.
They're the forefathers and the heads of those tribes.
Speedy judgment.
We gotta watch what we say against these men in this book, man. Because we're speaking about the elect and the chosen ones of God. The ones that God has chose and took to himself. Be careful, man. Because us as men, us as women, we would never, the men would never be able to fit their feet inside of their shoes. There will never be another woman. Woman out here cannot even compare to the woman in the book. These are people that God has chose, man. God's chosen people. We're trying to be chosen. We're trying to get into that bracket. And the only way to get into that bracket is to fulfill the laws, commandments, and statutes of God. Change your ways. Change the way you think. But acknowledge and realize that you do need to change. This is what we need to realize and recognize, that I need to make changes with myself. I need to stop moving this way. I need to stop thinking like this. I gotta stop walking like that. And start changing your mind frame according to the laws, commandments, and statutes of God. We haven't recognized that yet. So because we didn't recognize that yet, there'll never be another. There's not going to be no changes. Nobody is changing because nobody's acknowledging their faults. Nobody's acknowledging their faults. We get moved too quick off of emotions. We move too quick off of feelings. And these feelings and these emotions that stirs up within us is going to take you to your death.
That's right.
These feelings and these emotions that stirs up within us is going to take you to your death. Tom sheet. No. I'm sorry. No, I didn't even get to the point yet. He said, because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executed his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel. Soft up straight into the ground. Okay, let me get to the point. Verse 23.
But he refused.
No. Oh, you had it. Samuel. Okay, go ahead.
But he refused and said, I will not.
She was trying to get in the Eve.
But his
But
servant.
those news was some horrific news. To know that tomorrow, me and my son's going to die. Huh? You see the loyalty of Jonathan? Jonathan tried to change King Saul's perception about David. But when he seen that he was so steadfast on what he wanted to do, he left David alone and ran with his father. Loyalty to his pops. Right. And at that day, when they went to war, they formed a half. Look, they stood. It was surrounded. They surrounded their pops. In the middle of that half moon was the armor bearer, right. and they fighting with their sword and backing out. Right. They trying to escape, but they can't escape because the sentence of God already went out. That's right. When you think about these things, man, it's supposed to bring goosebumps, man. Them trying to get out the war, man. And they fighting. They could not pierce the breach. They couldn't get through. Those three men alone held it down against an army of Philistines. Right. You know how they had to hit them? With spears. Arrows. They had to hit them with arrows, man. Because they could not do nothing with them with the sword. Our forefathers was nice with that sword.
How to break that plane?
They was nice with that sword. If they didn't hit them with them archers, they got away. They would have got away. They would have got away, man. Our forefathers was nice with them swords, man. It was nice. But he was right there with his father, backing out. After they hit those three with the arrows, Saul get hit. The armor bearer get hit. Saul fell on the sword. Saul fell on the sword, killed himself. The armor bearer looked, I can't go back, and you did. He fell on the sword too. I killed himself. So it said, but he refused and said, I will not eat. But his servants together with the woman compelled him, and so hearkened their voice. So he arose from the earth and sat upon the bed. And the woman had a fat calf, right, in the house, and she hasted and killed it. And she took flour and kneaded it and did bake unleavened bread. So now what I told you now, by kneading the dough would cause the bread to be leavened. This is why the key thing to look at and to look up in the Hebrew was the word kneaded. The word for kneaded is talash, means to pluck. You can't pluck flour. To pluck means the dough was already made. Now people say that if the dough cannot sit there because leavening starts to seep in. That's wrong. That's wrong. Which means that dough was already sitting there. It probably was sour already. Because it was sitting there. We don't know how long it was sitting there. So that dough was there. She went and plucked from that dough and she made unleavened bread. It doesn't say kneaded. It means talash. It means to pluck. Okay? Let's go back to Leviticus 23 now. 23, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 9.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest.
This is the first fruits. This is the first of the gathering, the first of the growings, right? So these first fruits is dedicated to God. And how do we dedicate these first fruits to God? By taking it to the high priest. Okay? And this is what Cain brought to God. Cain brought the produce of the land, what grew. The order of the offering was not set yet. But when you are in favor with God, when you have gained God's attention, the Creator will lead you towards the correct way. Okay? This is why Abel was led towards the right and correct way to bring up the blood and the fat, to offer up animal to God. Okay? But when we read that book, it says that the Creator did not accept Cain. Therefore, his offering was not accepted. Abel was accepted of God. Therefore, his offering was accepted. So how do God show that he had accepted your offering? When fire came down from heaven and sucked up that offering. How do you show that that was proven to be right? The time when King Solomon sent up that prayer, and at the end of his prayer, fire came down from heaven and sucked up the offering, which means to say that King Solomon was accepted, King Solomon's prayer was accepted, and God also accepted his offering. Okay? All right? So in order for your prayers and anything that comes from your hand to be accepted, you got to be accepted. All right? Tamshi.
And ye shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow, after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it.
Okay.
He shall offer that day when he waved the sheep a he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord.
A he lamb, a male lamb without blemish, without no physical defect, no blemish. Okay. Of the first year for a burnt offering unto God. Now, this burnt offering is a continual burnt offering. It burns. And that's going to continue and keep burning and keep burning. All right, go ahead.
And the meat offering thereof shall be 2 10 deals of fine flour
2
mingled
10
with
deals
oil.
of fine flour mingled with oil.
An offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor.
Sweet savior,
And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the fourth part of a hin. And you shall eat neither bread.
You shall eat neither bread,
Nor parched corn, nor green
nor
ears.
parched corn, nor green ears,
Until the self-same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God.
until the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. Now, when does that offering go up? On the morrow after the Shabbat. That is the seventh day. Seventh day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. When the seventh day is over, the next day the offering goes up. That's when you start counting. Okay? And that's when that's when you can eat your bread. All right? That's when you can eat your, it says your parched corn and your green ears. But in the Hebrew, for this parched corn and green ears, it's kwali with kadmel. Kwali is toasted grains. Okay? Kadmel is green wheat. I think it's green wheat or something like that. These things were not eaten during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. This is why it says here that we're supposed to eat this on the morrow after the Shabbat. On the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, this is when we can go back to eat it.
You don't eat none of that
until you send up that offering. All right? Now, sometimes because of the days is all mixed up and everything, this is what God gave us. Realize that. God gave us this. Right? And we had it right the first time. But being that we had it right, we rejected it. We didn't want it. We didn't want to observe it. We didn't want to hearken to God. So God did what? He kicked us out the land and scrambled everything. Scrambled the calendar. We ain't gonna never stop trying to get something right that God done scrambled. I said God scrambled the calendar. Why? Because when we had it right, we didn't want to do it and fulfill His laws. So you think we're going to get it right now today? Because we still playing with the laws of God. We're not doing everything we know to be lawful and right by God. So we're not going to get nothing right. Just do these laws according to what God has given you. God has allowed the Jews to come up with this calendar. I'm going to follow this calendar. Why? Because I got to show God my determination for His laws, that if I do get these days right and correct, I will fulfill it and it will be done. But before we get anything right, we're going to stumble. We got to stumble and bump our heads first to prove to God or to show God that this is what I want. So even though I got to bump my head getting there, I'm going to continue to bump my head getting there. Even though I got to bump my foot, I'm going to continue to bump my foot. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get there. We got to prove that to God first before we get it right. And we do that now. Stop trying to correct the calendar. Stop trying to come up with a calendar committee. Stop trying to do things differently. You know why? Because when we do things differently, we don't accept the punishment of God. We don't accept the punishment of God. This is part of the punishment, man. So everybody, all Israel, supposed to be fulfilling these days and appointed times according to what God gave us, which is that Hebrew calendar.
Yeah, not man.
Not according to your mindset, talking about we don't do this today because we got to do this. Or we don't do this today, we do it this day. Or we do it. Everybody got their own days of when they want to observe the times, the appointed times of God. Why? Just do these days according to what God said.
Yeah.
According to what God gave us.
Not man.
That's it. And not man's.
Right.
Not man's ideas.
Right.
That's it. Tom sheet.
You shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheep of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days. You shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord.
On the 50th day, a new meat offering goes up. I said a new meat offering goes up before God. Tom C.
You shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2 tent deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baking with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord. And you shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock and 2 rams. And they shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, even an offering made by fire, a sweet savior unto the Lord. Then you shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offering. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priests. And you shall proclaim on the self-same day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. You shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations.
You shall do no servile work therein. Huh? It shall what? Be a statute for what?
Forever. In all your dwellings.
In all your dwellings.
Throughout your generations.
Wherever you live. In all your dwellings means wherever you at. You must observe this day. Huh? The Creator knew we was gonna kick out that land. He knew that. But guess what? He still gave you rope to hang yourself. That's what God did. He gave you enough rope to hang yourself. I already showed you how not to hang yourself. I already showed you how to deliver yourself. Now let me see what's your choices. Let me see what you're going to choose. Go ahead. And we hung ourselves. Oh, yeah, we hung ourselves. Because we refused to hearken to God. We refused to hearken to God. Now we in a predicament that we ain't never been in. Worst predicament ever before. Tom C.
When you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of the field. 22.
He said, when you reap the harvest of your land, he said, don't make clean riddance. Don't glean it. Don't take everything. Because when you take everything and you glean it, you're selfish. Yeah. It emanates and shows that you are selfish. You have self-interest. Your interest is not in nobody else. You only have interest in yourself and how you feel and what you like, your emotions. So you move according to how you feel. Self-interest. Huh? That's how you can tell when a person is only concerned with themselves. Huh? When they begin to turn away from God because of self-interest. Yeah. That's what causes you to do everything that you do that is against God and against man. Self-interest. Huh? We sin and break God's law because of self-interest. Yeah. Everything we do in life is because of self-interest. Yeah. Isn't that something that's deep? Yeah. That's deep, man. And I didn't think about it until now. Think about it. Why we do the things we do in life? Is it to appease you? No. Maybe it's because it satisfies that one. No. Everything we do in life is to please yourself. Everything. As soon as we eradicate the pride and vanity and the self and that self foolishness, then you will become better citizens of God. Then you will begin to fulfill these laws and the commandments of God to its perfection.
When you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of the field. When thou reapest, now shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God.
Lord your God.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, on the first day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation.
He says, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath. a memorial or blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation. Now, this was in commemoration when we met God. This was the day that we met God. Because when the Creator brought us to Mount Sinai, he said, you guys, make sure, he said, sanctify the people. For how many days? 3 days. Why? God told him to sanctify them. Because the presence of God is coming down. That's why. He said, don't go near your wives. Stay away from your woman. Because the presence of God is coming down. And if he comes down amongst any uncleanness, somebody gonna die. Somebody gonna die. So this is why the Creator said to sanctify the people for 3 days. I have yet to find out what happened or what took place or what did Moses have to do to sanctify the people. Listen, a lot of things wasn't revealed because people would do it. What? This is how you sanctify yourself? To get just what? You know how many people are going to be doing that? So certain things wasn't revealed. God ain't going to put that information in here for people that's not chosen by God to start doing all these things. So certain things got to be hidden, and you got to keep out the book. Moses knew how to say. He didn't write it there. He didn't put it there because he wasn't instructed to put that there. He wasn't instructed to put that there. Okay? Now, go ahead, read.
You shall do no servile work therein, but you shall offer an offering.
Now, that day, the memorial blowing of the trumpets, that was the day that the people met God. Right? So now they're at the grounds of Mount Sinai, and the presence of God came down upon that mountain. And just by God's presence alone, he incinerated the whole mountain range. Just by God's presence alone, he caused that whole mountain range to start skipping. It starts skipping. The mountain got animated by the presence of God. Mountain starts skipping. Fire lit up the whole mountain range on fire. The voice of a trumpet waxing louder and louder and louder. And all they heard was the voice of God coming out of that fire. And God said, Exodus 20, the commandments. That's right. The commandments. Spoken straight out the mouth of God. And we lived according to those commandments for a very long season before we got the rest of the laws. Yeah. Before we got the rest of the laws. Okay? Tom Sheet.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month,
10th day of the 7th month,
there shall be a day of atonement.
There shall be a day of atonement.
There shall be a holy convocation.
A holy convocation unto you.
And ye shall afflict your soul.
And ye shall afflict your soul.
And offer
an offering made by fire unto the Lord. How do you afflict your soul? What can we do to afflict our souls? Brothers said that there's nowhere in the book that states that you need to refrain from eating. Okay? But when you read in Isaiah 58, in Isaiah 58, when you fasting and you are afflicting your soul, a zoom, zadeh, shavuot, memsofi, right? Listen to this. He said, cry loud. Cry loud. Spear not. Don't hold back. A lot of us hold back because I'm concerned with your feelings. A lot of us hold back because I don't want to hurt you. A lot of us hold back. We can't hold back when we're dealing with the laws and the commandments of God. I got to tell you how it is, man. I got to tell you how it is. I got to show you where you're violating that. I got to show you your transgressions so that you can correct them. So that I can correct myself. Show me and tell me where I'm going wrong. I'm not full of pride. I'm not prideful to where a man can't tell me where I went wrong. And if I went wrong or I'm wrong according to what God said, then I will accept my fault and apologize. And I will not go that way ever again. But we don't want it. We refuse. We refuse to hearken to the chastisement of God. We don't like to hearken to the chastisement of God, man. He said, cry loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their iniquities. No one's being shown. We want to tell the people fairy tales, lies. We're going back to the land. The 400 years is up. You ain't going nowhere. I said, we're not going nowhere. Do you really think there's going to be an exodus now? Do you really think how many seas and rivers you're going to have to dry up? Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean. All of these oceans got to get dried up. We're not going nowhere, man. From here, you know where we're going? To the grave. Yeah. The only way you get to Jerusalem, you got to buy you a plane ticket. Buy you a plane ticket, and if you decide to stay there, you go there and stay. But why would I want to go there and stay and God kicked me out? Why would I want to go there and live and God kicked me out? I'm not going back to defy my God. God kicked me out and said, I don't want you there until I bring you back. No, we go back and we live and say, man, to hell with the Creator and what God said. I'm going to live there anyway. Fools. What are we doing there? What are we doing there? God kicked us out, man, because we refused to fulfill these laws and do according to what God said. And he said the repercussion and the penalty is that the land gonna kick you out, never to return.
That means it's gonna stay angry at you.
Never to return until God says so. So when are we gonna return then? If God said we will, he's gonna bring the nation back into the land. That has to be akarit, the hereafter. That has to be after, because what is our reward? What is it? We live, we do these laws, and then we die. Where's the reward? Think. Where's the reward at? The reward is after. But a lot of people want to run from that. A lot of people want to run from that and thumbs down it like, what? Come on now. It says it all through the book. He said, yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways. Delight to know my ways. Delight to know my custom, my path. My manner, my course, my mode. There's a mannerism that comes with serving God. There's a custom, a type of custom that we need to keep when it comes to serving God. There's a certain path that we need to walk in when it comes to serving God. There's a certain behavior that we need to behold, that we need to hold down when it comes to serving God. It said, as a nation that did righteousness. We were a nation that did righteousness at one point in time. And forsook not the ordinance of their God. At one point in time, they're asking me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to God. Wherefore have we fasted? See, what's the use of me fasting? Now the word for fast is zoom. When you look up the definition of zoom, Zadeh, Shavuote, men, it means to abstain from food.
There you go.
So people say, well, when you read the book, it doesn't say nowhere in the book where it says to afflict your souls means not to eat. Okay, on Yom Kippur, you go eat.
So
then.
what you doing on Yom Kippur?
Go eat then.
Okay.
I'm not
There
going to
you
eat.
go. Now you want to come change.
The only way to afflict your spirit, your soul, meaning your spirit, the only way to afflict your spirit is when you refrain from eating. Notice that when you refrain from eating, the flesh, the body is weakened. But the spirit is elevated.
Spirit is strong.
The spirit becomes elevated, and your antennas is up, and you are more of a detector for wickedness and evil and sin.
Right.
When you fast.
You can adapt more to the Lord sometimes. Yeah.
So he said, wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? These are questions. He said, why are we fasting and you ain't recognizing it, oh God? He said, I'm doing all this and you ain't recognizing what I'm doing. Huh? Wherefore have we afflicted our souls, and thou takest no knowledge? Because in the day of your fast you find pleasure, and exact all your labors. So while they was fasting, they was pleasuring themselves. They was doing things. See, when you fast, you have to pull away.
Yeah.
You pull away from
Daily
desires,
activities.
pleasures, and daily activities, because you're working. You're working on it, right? Okay, and exact all your labors. You made your work is work. You was making money. Okay, let's cut that. Let's go back to Leviticus 23.
And you shall do no work in that same day. Verse 28. And you shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
What verse you at?
28.
Okay, go ahead.
That was 28. I'm at 29.
The Day of Atonement. Huh? During the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, we had a high priest that confessed our iniquities to God. Confessed our iniquities upon the head of the scapegoat. Right? And they had what these are transmitters. Okay? So he transferred the sins of the nation upon the head of the scapegoat. Okay? After he transferred the sins of the nation upon the head of the scapegoat, then that scapegoat had to be let loose into the wild by a fit man. This is why God told Eve, because she said, God said. So I'm only going to go according to what I read, because Eve said, God said, don't eat from it, neither shall you touch it. Eve didn't know anything about lying. So stop calling my mother a liar.
That's right.
Stop calling Mother Eve a liar.
That's right.
Okay? She was innocent at that point in time, and she said that in her innocency. So now I got to be careful with what I touch. That is abominable by God.
That's right.
Abominable by God. Be careful of the abominations that you touch with your hands.
Yeah.
Okay? There's nothing wrong with touching the book. There's nothing wrong with touching the chair if it's clean. If it's clean. There's nothing wrong with touching my woman, because that's my woman. Ain't nothing wrong with touching the fan. But don't touch nothing that is abominable by God, like crosses. Be careful of the chains that you touch, because the chain is an abominable chain, because it was used to hold up a cross. So we got to be careful of the things that we touch with our hands. Tom, see?
Verse 29. But whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people.
Okay.
Whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work.
You shall do no manner of work.
It shall be a statute forever.
It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings.
It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. You shall afflict your souls.
Afflict your soul.
The 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even shall you celebrate your Sabbath. The Lord spake unto Moses,
from
saying,
even to even shall ye celebrate your Sabbaths. It's all through the book of how a day begins and how a day ends. The day begins at even and it ends at even. Okay? The day begins at even And it ends at even. From even to even is 1 day.
So the same Genesis.
Okay? 1 day.
Yeah.
Well, we like to complicate things, man. We complicate things when the day starts. Listen, the book shows us when the day starts. The book shows us when the day ends. But you know why things is complicated between certain people? Because you done consume too much blood. You done consume so much blood and fat that it caused your brain
directed somewhere else
and to be directed elsewhere. You done got pushed away. You done had so many seasons. Now you're starting to penetrate your brain. You know how many times you done told brothers you can't cut your hair, you can't shave, stop cutting your hair. They cut it more for the better. They cut it more for the better. Huh? What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? Why do we put ourselves above God's law? This is why we can't be good. This is why we can't take tears. This is why we can't do better. Why? Because we haven't gotten over certain hurdles. The hurdles that's before you, the stumbling blocks, we ain't jumping over it.
You ain't correct that.
We're not correcting these hurdles. We're still stuck.
So you won't advance.
So therefore, you can't advance with God until you correct this. Time sheet.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying,
Uh-huh.
The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles.
The Feast of Tabernacles.
For 7 days.
Okay, Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Booths, in commemoration when the nation of Israel dwelt in tents in the wilderness. Okay? This is why we observe the Feast of Tabernacles, which is the Feast of Booths, Khag Sukkot. Okay? Time sheet.
On the first day shall be a holy convocation.
On the first day is a holy convocation.
You shall do no servile work therein.
No servile work therein.
7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Uh-huh.
On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you. And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly.
Uh-huh.
Ye shall do no servile work
No
therein.
servile work. No meleket. No meleket abora. Time sheet.
These are the feasts of the Lord.
These are the feasts of
which
God.
ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering, a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day.
Time sheet.
Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings which ye shall give unto the Lord.
Time sheet.
Also on the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath. On the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees.
The boughs of goodly trees.
Branches of palm trees.
Branches of palm trees.
Boughs of thick trees.
Boughs of thick trees.
The willows of the brook.
Willows of the brook.
And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days.
So this is what we rejoice during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Go get you some willows of the brook. Go get those branches of palm trees and willows of the brook, and go get all these things. And during the Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days, we rejoice before God with these things. Huh? Like how you decorated the Christmas tree. Mm-hmm. How you went and got the tinsels and the bulbs. Huh? We got to get these things to rejoice before our God. Uh-huh. All right? Go ahead.
And you shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in a year. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
Okay, chop that. Go to the next chapter, 24. 24, verse 10. Leviticus 24, verse 10.
The son of an Israelitish woman whose father was an Egyptian went out among the children of Israel.
It said, the son of an Israelitish woman. I'm in Leviticus 24, verse 10. The son of an Israelitish woman. What made the woman Israelitish? because she married an Egyptian man. She married an Egyptian man, right? The father of the son was an Egyptian, right? And the son of an Israelitish woman whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel, and the son
of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strolled together in the camp.
They got into a stroll. They got into a fight, a conflict, whatever went down. Okay, go ahead.
And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord.
Blasphemed the name of God.
And cursed.
And cursed. So he did two things. He blasphemed the name of God and he cursed. All right? Now what it says in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew it says, Wayikwo ben ha'isha. Right? The word Wayikwo means to state explicitly. It means to state explicitly. So now what did he say out of his mouth? What did he state out of his mouth? Okay? See, check this out. It said, Wayikwo ben ha'isha, ha'isha elite et Hashem. He stated explicitly the name of God. That's what it means. This is why I don't mention God's name. This is why I don't mention the name of God. Okay? God said don't mention it. Okay? The reason why I wouldn't type it on the letter is because I don't want that letter to be destroyed because God's name is on it.
That's right. Talk about it.
Okay? That's how holy his name is. Okay? Leave God's name alone.
Right.
Okay? I don't mention it. It behooves you not to mention it.
That's right.
It behooves you not to even write it.
That's right.
It behooves you to even speak it.
Leave it alone.
Leave that name alone.
It's most holy.
It is holy and it's not the. It's called the Tetragrammaton.
Respect your
Right?
God.
We don't even know the correct pronunciation of that name because it didn't have no vowels.
No vowels.
Okay? Yod Hey Wad Hey.
It's guessing.
God said, I came to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as God Almighty. He said, but my name, Yod Hey Wad Hey, was I not known to them. They didn't know me by that name. In Amos 5, chapter 5 or chapter 6, he says, hold thy tongue, for we should not make mention of the name of God.
That's right.
That's plain and simple. We should not make mention of the name of God. So why do we continue to mention God's name? It didn't say you can mention it. Don't mention it, period. You can mention it in prayer. Does the book say that? It says don't mention it.
That's right.
You can mention it in Psalms. Does the book say that? It says don't mention it.
That's right.
But guess what? God gave everybody a choice.
Right.
Say you choose.
Yeah.
I can't get angry at what you chose.
That's right.
And we got to stop getting bent out of shape off of people's choices. We got to stop getting bent out of shape because he wants to eat blood and fat. We got to stop getting bent out of shape because he wants to cut his hair. You don't do it.
Yeah.
Correct them, and that's it. My job is not to get angry and tight. Well, I'm not busting no blood vessel because that's what you want to do. Leave them alone. You want to go ahead and do it by all means. But you're going to follow the rules in the house.
Yeah.
If you're coming home, if you come to my place, don't mention God's name here.
That's right.
Because I don't mention it here. So please, brother, respect the rules. Don't mention it here. You go outside, you can mention it. But we got to stop fretting ourselves over evil doers.
Right.
We got to stop fretting ourselves over evil doers.
Right.
Leave these people alone. Correct them and leave them alone after that. It says, Wayikwo. That Wayikwo means to state explicitly. And the Israelitish woman stated explicitly the name of the Lord and curse. Okay, Tom Sheet.
And they brought him unto Moses. And his mother's name was Shilomi, the daughter of Dibri,
the
tribe of Dan.
the tribe of Dan.
They put him in ward that the mind of the Lord might be showed them.
They put him in war, to make clear what to be done. God he said, listen, we don't know what to do with this guy here. So after they put him in ward, They went to inquire of God to find out what's next. What are we going to do with this guy? What do you want done with this guy? Go ahead, read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. Thou shalt speak unto the
Bring
children.
forth him that had cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. You hear that? The witnesses put their hands on the violator's head. You heard him? Put your hand on his head. Everybody that heard him say it, put your hand on his head. You know why? Because if you're lying and you really didn't say it, his blood is on the ones that put their hands on their head. Okay?
Just in case you
Very important. See, we take these things lightly as far as witnesses.
Yeah.
To be a witness of something that you heard, to be a witness of something that, or an action that was done, is very important. Because if you're lying and that person's life get taken, then that his blood is on you.
That's right.
I can't say I heard and I didn't hear. And if I tell you I didn't hear, why you get angry at me when I told you I didn't hear? You want me to be a lying witness? And then God's going to despise me. He's going to hate me because I am a lying witness.
Right.
And we got to stop getting angry at the other party when the other party tells you, listen, I don't know what happened. Well, you was right there, yeah, but I really don't know what happened. I didn't hear. I don't know what took place. You got to leave those things. You got to stop, man. Tom Sheep.
And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, Whosoever curseth God shall bear his sin. And he that blasphemeth the name of the Lord, he shall surely be put to death.
And he that blasphemeth the name of the Lord. The word for blaspheme, the name of God, is why? No cab. Nun kuf bait. It means to state explicitly. And he that states explicitly the name of God shall be put to death. That was a death penalty. That's why when you read this book, you never read in this book nowhere where our forefathers mentioned God's name. They didn't mention it. Left that name alone. Nobody called him by that name. The name was not used. You may have read it. That's why we got to treat these Bibles. These Bibles with God's name in it, I wouldn't even throw it out. I'm afraid to throw a Bible and put the Bible in the garbage. Because God's name is in there. This is why when we left out of that camp, all the Bibles is on the floor. The man that thought on God's name took it up. Maybe that's what solidified his spirit and solidified himself with God. Because he thought about them. Nobody in that camp thought about the name of God but one man. His name was on the floor. He had to carve it out. It was on the floor. Picked that up. Picked up all the Bibles. And we still got those same Bibles from 90 what? 93? 92. Still got those same Bibles. I'll be damned if I'm throwing them in the garbage. I'm not throwing no Bible in the garbage. Not me. Tom Sheep.
And he that blasphemeth the name of the Lord, he shall surely be put to death. And all the congregation shall certainly stone him, as well the stranger, as he that is born in the land. And he, when he blasphemeth the name of the Lord, shall be put to death. And he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death.
And he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death. See, killing and kill and murder are two different things. Okay? He said, he that killeth any man shall be put to death. So you go around killing people for no reason. The guy's not haunting you. He wasn't a threat to you. He wasn't pursuing you. There was no beef. You just want to kill somebody. So go ahead. You kill him. God said you're going to be put to death. You can't just go around killing people. You can't just go around killing people, robbing people. Go ahead, read.
And he that killeth a beast shall make it good.
He that killeth a beast, you got to make it good.
Beast for beast.
Beast for beast.
And if a man cause a blemish in his neighbor,
And if a man cause a blemish in his neighbor, this is what's going to teach you to keep your hands to yourself. Because if you raise up and black my eye, I'm going to black your eye. If I lose a tooth, I'm going to cause you to lose a tooth. And guess what? Sometimes some people hit harder than some. So I got to keep hitting you until that tooth come out. I got to keep hitting until that tooth come out. The tooth ain't out. I lost a tooth. You need to lose one. This is what teaches us to keep our hands to ourselves. We don't take situations in our own hands. Okay? No. We take the situation by the order of God, by the commandment of God, by the things that God said. This is how we handle situations, not according to how I want to handle it. We got to handle it the way God said to handle it. And if a man cause a blemish to his neighbor, as he had done, so shall it be done to him. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he had caused a blemish in a man, so shall it be done to him again. And he that killeth a beast, he shall restore it. And he that killeth a man, he shall be put to death. He shall have one manner of law, as well for the stranger, as for one of your own country. For I am the Lord your God. And Moses spake to the children of Israel that they should bring forth him that had cursed out the camp and stone him with stones. And the children of Israel did as the Lord commanded Moses. And the Lord spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, say unto them, When ye come into the land which I'll give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. The day we enter into Jerusalem is when we begin counting. All right? Because that's 7 years. When 7 years, there's a thing called 7-year release. After every 7 year is when your debt, you're supposed to release that debt. Yeah. If a person can't pay you within 7 years, you have a heart. That's what these laws teaches us, man. To have a heart. The brother is going through hard times. He's not able to relinquish the debt. But we want to hold the debt over a man's head, over people's head, and use it against them. It says 6 years thou shalt sow thy field. 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruits thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the Lord, unto the land. Sabbath of rest of the land, right? Which means that whole 7th year, we didn't touch it. We did not touch that land. We left it. Okay? We left the land. You didn't go pruning nothing. You didn't pick nothing. Everything stays the way it is, right? A Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field, nor prune thy vineyard. That which groweth of his own accord of thy harvest, thou shalt not reap. Neither gather the grapes of thy vineyard undressed, but it is a year of the rest of the land. And this is why when we go to get fruits and vegetables, these fruits and vegetables that we're getting is not growing to its increase. Because we're not allowing the land to rest. When we pick and prune and pick and pick and pick and glean, the land got to work to push out another apple. The land got to work to push out another grape. But if the land don't got to push nothing out, then he's resting because it's not working. It said, the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, for thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourneth with thee, and for thy cattle, and for thy beasts that are in thy land, shall all the increase thereof be meat. And thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of the year unto thee, 7 times 7 years. And the space of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 40 and 9 years. And thou shalt cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month, the day of atonement. Shall you make the trumpet sound throughout all the land. And you shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee. Free. Everything is free to go. Everything means let it go. Stop holding on to things that you don't need to be holding on to. He said that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. And you shall take of them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule one over another with rigor. See, we dealt with bond. See, Israel, when we're dealing with each other, we couldn't put our people and treat them as bond slaves. Bondmen were slaves. Okay? And we could not rule over each other with rigor. Okay? And if a sojourner or stranger, two different things. A sojourner is one that's passed by, passing through. The stranger is one that lives amongst us and confide themselves into serving God. Right? It said where ki tashig yad gid. Sojourner or the stranger. Okay? Wax rich by thee, and by thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger, or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family. After that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him. So you happen to sell yourself to work. See, this right here was an occupation. All right? That was our occupation. That was the main means of working. I needed a job. I didn't have nothing. You had all the money. I would sell myself to serve you, to be your worker. And I would work for you for 6 years. On the 7th year, you gotta release me. It's time for me to go. And when I leave, you furnish me, you give me, I don't leave empty-handed. I leave with oxes and cattle. I leave with money. I leave with land, because I've served you for 7 years. So the purpose of me serving you and working for you is so that I will be able to fend for myself and take care of myself. Okay? And this is why they did these things. He said either his uncle, now he can be redeemed by his family. Family can redeem him. Uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is nigh of kin unto him of his family may redeem him. Or if he be able, he may redeem himself. I could let myself go free. And with that, I heard that one was bought. And I'm going to say, Shavuote Shalom. Shavuote Shalom. Call up the next speaker, Chief Mika. Ben Love.
Giving all praises to the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob. Giving all due respect to my father, my teacher, and my leader, Chief Eleazar, and Dodo of the tribe of Lewi. Giving due respect to brothers and sisters, visitors. I bid you out of tongue of our forefathers. Shavuote Shalom.
Shavuote Shalom to God.
And at this time, when we all rise, and repeat after me. And God spake all these words, saying,
God spake all his words, saying,
I am the Lord thy God,
I am the Lord thy God,
which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt,
which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt,
out of the house of bondage.
out of the house of bondage.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Thou shalt have no other God before me.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image,
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image,
or any likeness of anything
or any likeness of anything
that is in heaven above,
that is in the heaven above,
or that is in the earth beneath,
or that is in the earth beneath,
or that is in the water under the earth.
or that is in the water under the earth.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them,
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them,
nor serve them.
nor serve them.
For I, the Lord thy God,
For I, the Lord thy God,
am a jealous God,
am the jealous God,
visiting the iniquity of the fathers
visiting the iniquity of the fathers
upon the children,
upon the children,
unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me,
to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me,
and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me,
and show mercy to thousands of them that love me,
and keep my commandments.
and keep my commandments.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Remember the Sabbath day,
Remember the Sabbath day,
to keep it holy.
to keep it holy.
6 days shalt thou labor,
6 days shalt thou labor,
and do all thy work.
and do all thy work.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
In it
In it
thou shalt not do any work,
thou shalt not do any work,
thou,
thou,
nor thy son,
nor thy son,
nor thy daughter,
nor thy daughter,
thy manservant,
thy manservant,
nor thy maidservant,
nor thy maidservant,
nor thy cattle,
nor thy cattle,
nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth,
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth,
the sea,
the sea,
and all that in them is,
and all that in the midst,
and rested the seventh day.
and rested the 7th day.
Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day,
Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day,
and hallowed it.
and hallowed it.
Honor thy father and thy mother,
Honor thy father and thy mother,
that thy days may be long upon the land
that thy days may be long upon the land
which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Thou shalt not murder.
Thou shalt not murder.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife,
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife,
nor his manservant, nor his maidservant,
nor his maidservant,
nor his ox,
nor his ox,
nor his ass,
nor his ass,
nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Shavuote, you may be seated. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountains smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. They said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God has come to prove you, and that his spirit may be before your faces, that ye sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was. And the Lord said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen, in all places where I record my name. I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone, but if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps into mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. Okay, we're going to go straight ahead to the book of Tobit, in the Apocrypha. The book of Tobit is after 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha are books that were taken out of the original written Old Testament. Okay? The Christians did that. The Jews didn't do that. The Christians were the ones who took those books out, right, and made them separate and called them the Apocrypha. The reason why is a lot of these books in this Apocrypha, right, it means hidden testimonies, hidden stories, okay? they make clear what people don't get in the Old Testament. A lot of things that you read in the Apocrypha will backs up what we read in the Old Testament. And when you hear people saying, oh, but they don't say that in the book, it says it in the Apocrypha. It says it in the book of Ezra. It says it in the book of Maccabees. It tells you certain things straight up, even though the Greeks were the ones who translated. They translated everything. There was a time when the Greeks ran everything.
Right.
Okay? They translated the Torah. They translated history. They translated everything. Then after the Greeks, the Romans came.
Yeah.
They translated. Okay? Then you got the English monarchs. They translated. That's another reason why you go as far back as old as you can with the Old Testament, which is the 1611, and we stay there. Because thou shalt not steal means thou shalt not steal. Okay? It's the plain and most simple form. Now, a lot of things that you read in the Apocrypha is the history of what happened to the Israelites after the Old Testament. It starts with the Greeks and then the Romans into what you call modern day, which is AD time. Okay? It's like a continuation. So what's in the Apocrypha is valid. It was part of the Old Testament, the original Old Testament. It got taken out by heathens. Okay? Because it proves a lot of things that are said and done in the law with God, with God's servants in the Old Testament. It backs it up. Okay, so the book of Tobit now was a time, this was a time before Nehemiah. It was when, before the Greeks, it was when Shalmaneser, which is Assyria. This was Assyria. So this is right before the Babylonian captivity. Assyria came and they took the 10 tribes out. Okay? And then years later, the Babylonians came and took Judah out. So this is before Judah got taken out. Time sheet.
What chapter?
From the beginning. Atonement 1.
The book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobiel, the son of Ananiel, the son of Aduel, the son of Gabael, of the seed of Asael, of the tribe of Naphtali.
So this tells you that Tobit is out the tribe of Naphtali. All right? At this time, they're able to break down, history is still young, they're able to break down what tribe you came out of. Today, you won't be able to. You pick. Today, you pick your tribe. Nobody has documented proof of exactly what tribe you come out of. First of all, you have to have documented proof that you're out of Israel. Israel is not the only black nation in the world. There were many black nations before Israel was formed. There were many black nations before Abraham was born. So it has nothing to do with people being black. Israel was a black nation that Shemitically came out of a man named Abraham. Then Isaac, then Yaakov. And Jacob had 12 sons. And each son had a tribe that came out of it, which later formed the nation, the children of Israel, that we read about in this Old Testament. So this is the history of a man that came out of one of those tribes. Tom Sheep.
Who in the time of Anemasar, king of the Assyrians.
And Anemasar, in this book here is pronounced Anemasar. The Greeks pronounce it Anemasar. In the Old Testament, it's pronounced Shalmaneser. In another part of the book, they call him Pul. Okay? That's part of his name, though. All right? This guy, he's an Assyrian. He came and he took the whole 10 tribes of Israel out of Assyria and brought them up into Lower Europe. All right? And spreaded them out. And then he took people from Babylon, from Cutha, from Sepharvaim. These are very ancient. These are ancient cities where these people serve demons and fire gods. He took those people and put them in Israel. Their descendants is there now. Okay? All right? That's the people that's in Israel. They call them Palestinians, right? Because they're in Palestine. But there's many different types of people. There's Syrians. There's all types of people from ancients from back then that got that replaced the Israelites that got taken out. And these are and that's why it's still war going on there. Because when God brought those people there, it said the lions started eating them up. And the king said, well, look, go back and get a priest of Lewi. Bring them back here so he could teach these heathen people that we brought here the laws of the land. Okay? And it said, and they started to do the laws of God and their laws. And they started mixing it. Okay? This is when the laws of God started getting mixed into everybody else's nation. All right? It got absorbed. Everybody took a piece of what the Israelites had gotten from God and took a piece of it. This is why you hear today, oh, we're all the same. That's the reason why you hear that. And no, we're not all the same. Everybody has a watered down version of what God gave Israel. And it started from right then and then. So now today you see that's why it's a bunch of war going on there. Because you have a people to live, look. To live on that land that's called Israel, these laws have to be kept. These laws have to be kept. Before Israel came, the Canaanites was there. They didn't keep no law. God dispossessed them. He said, because the people of that land, they commit abominations and cause the land to sin. He said, therefore, when you get in there, kill all of them up, right? And then you got to keep these commandments. Because if you don't keep these commandments, the land is going to kick you out too. God told them. For some reason, this area that's called Israel, in order for you to live on it, God made it that way. That whoever goes on that land and lives there, you got to be living these commandments. So the Canaanites wasn't living these commandments. They was going way, way beyond other heathens and their abominations. They were the worst. God said, yo, get rid of them. They're not to go and live somewhere else. They are too sinful. Okay? They had incest with each other. Their ways were incest. Okay? And eating blood. And eating dead bodies. Having sex with dead bodies. Having sex with animals. That's what the Canaanites did. That's why God said, destroy them. And when we went in there, we didn't destroy them. We married into them. We linked up with them. We started living like them. So what happened? God kicked us out. So Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, was led captive out of this.
Was led captive out of Tisbe.
Which is what's called Thebes today. Tamshi.
Which is at the right hand of that city. Which is called properly Naphtali in Galilee, above Asher. I, Tobit, had walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice.
Now, this is a man who can make a statement like this. And today, people can't make no statement like this. For him to make a statement like this, he hasn't sinned.
That's a hard statement.
He didn't sin. He said, I, Tobit, have walked. I lived all the days of my life in truth. Every day of his life, he didn't lie. He didn't lie. He didn't deceive. Everything he did was on the up and up. He said, I lived all the days of my life in the ways of truth and justice. Justice means If he judged a matter, he judged it according to God's laws, justifiably. He didn't do nothing unjust to nobody. You know what that means? You don't like it, you don't do it to nobody. Because you don't like whatever you don't like for yourself, that will be unjust. You don't do it to anybody else. Whatever you know to be unjust, you don't do it to anybody else. That's what justice is. And everything that comes from dealing with and keeping the commandments. He said, I walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice, and I did many alms deeds to my brethren. Alms is donations. Donations. A lot of his brethren didn't have what he had. So he wasn't the only one sitting there enjoying it. He made sure his brethren, he gave out alms, and he didn't look for nothing back. You didn't have to hang with me. You didn't have to agree with me for me to give you something. Today is that way. Okay? He gave alms to his brethren and his nation. Who what?
And I did many alms deeds to my brethren and my nation, who came with me to Nineveh, into the land of the Assyrians.
So all of them got swept up. Tobit, the nation, remember the 10 tribes, he got swept up with it. Even though he followed God's commandments. But Israel got hit up as one whole, as an individual. You understand me?
Right.
So the majority was messing up. So the majority left. Everybody got swept up. And he got swept up with it. But what he did, he still looked out for his brethren while they was in Nineveh. Nineveh is not in Israel. It's in the land of Assyria. Okay? Far away now. They are never going back to that land. They are never going to see that land again, ever again. They never went back. The 10 tribes got taken there and they got spread out through Europe. Yeah. That's why in Europe, Europeans, you have certain parts in Europe, they say they out of this tribe. They say they're out of their tribe. And you can't dispute that. Because if God's saying, I'm going to scatter you, Israel, all over the world, to the four corners of the world, to the borders of earth, that means there are going to be somebody out the tribe of Issachar wound up in Scandinavia. So you're going to have someone in Scandinavia saying, hey, I'm going to have 2 or 3 people that say, I'm them. My people come from them, not from here. Because they were pushed out. And then you had some Israelites that said, we're not staying there in Nineveh. They ran off. They escaped and went further into Europe where no man dwelled. And they said, we're going to come here. This is where we're going to do the Shabbat. This is where we're going to keep the feast days. Remember, the earth was still young at that time. Europe wasn't all civilized the way it was now. The earth was not inhabited the way it was now. Manhattan was not buildings and all that, bridges. All of this over here was wilderness at that time. Indians wasn't even over here yet. Okay? The world was young. So there were places that you could leave away from all the city, wherever man is at, and you can start a whole new city here. And that's what they did. They went on amongst that. Now, when you persecuted and you're in slavery, I'm going to see you go through it. You're going to see me go through it. But what he did was he helped his brothers. He said, and when I was in my own country, now he's flashing back, all right? He's going to tell you how they wound up in Nineveh. How these guys wound up in Nineveh. How these guys was able to take all these people and bring them up there to die. So it's a flashback. He's going to let you know what happened when he was young. He said, when I was in mine own country, in the land of Israel, being but young, all the tribe of Naphtali, my father, fell from the house of Jerusalem. You know what that means? They stopped going there. The 3 appointed times. that they were supposed to go to Jerusalem, they didn't go there no more. They went to the heifer, Bill. See, Baal, calf worship, goat worship, all that's the same. There was a king named Jeroboam who did not want his side of Israel. He had the northern kingdom, he had the southern kingdom. Jeroboam was in charge of the northern kingdom. He did not want his subjects to go to that kingdom over there in Jerusalem because he said, yo, in a little while, they're going to start serving me and they're going to kill me. So he made up a day to counter the days that they are appointed to go to Jerusalem. He said, away with Passover, away with the unleavened bread. He made his own feast days, right? And they go to, he had one calf set up at Dan, and another calf set up at Beersheba. So at one end of the land, at the other end of the land, on the East Coast and the West Coast. If you live closer to New York, you could go there and serve the calf. That's how it was in Israel. That's how he had it set up. And in order to go to Jerusalem, he had cities built there to block those roads off. So if you said, man, I'm still going to Jerusalem, you had to sneak and go. If you got caught, you would die. That's what was going on. And that was set up since Jeroboam was in the land. So the whole time, the tribe of Naphtali, Issachar, Dan, all of them, they fell from Jerusalem. Meaning they stopped going to Jerusalem to appear before God. Instead, they went to the calf worship to appear before Baal. They stopped appearing before God. You see, we just read earlier what Chief Shaman said, all males shall appear before me and not empty-handed. They did that, but they did that with the idols. So they fell from the house of Jerusalem. If a person stops coming to the camp, wherever they go, don't have to be here. Wherever you go to observe the Shabbat, right? And then you just stop going and you start going to church. You fell from God. You fell from the grace of the Most High. That's what that means when it says it fell from the house of Jerusalem. They fell off, right or wrong, right. In the streets. You say, hey man, what happened to him? He used to be my Benz, luxurious cars, woman, jewelry. Now he eating out the garbage can. What they say, he fell off. He fell off. You ain't up there no more. You're not doing what you used to do no more. You fell off from that. And that's what happened. He said, which was chosen. He said, it fell from the house of Jerusalem, which was chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, that all the tribes should sacrifice where the temple of the habitation of the Most High was consecrated. The temple of God, which was in Jerusalem, was consecrated. Okay? Not everybody was able to go there in that temple. It was a holy temple, it was a holy spot where God's name was worshipped. That was the whole idea for the temple. He said, and built for what?
For all ages.
For all ages. That place was built, and it's supposed to be there today. But because of our sins, because of our transgressions against God, all that setup is destroyed. That's why we don't have a calendar. The calendar that we had was to let us know when to go to Jerusalem, was to let us know when it's reaping time, when it's sowing time. Our days, okay, that we went there are agricultural days. Agricultural means it has to do with our farm work. When we reap and when we sow. Whenever it's sowing time, right? No, reaping time, it was time for a feast of the Lord. And it happened 3 times in a year. And like I said, Shabbat, last Shabbat, the first days of those days never landed on a Shabbat. Because as we read just a little while ago, it says on the morrow after the Sabbath. You see? And that's the official Shabbat. Those days never landed on a Shabbat. But there's no way to backtrack it and correct it. No way. No way at all. And this is why everything is crazy and out of whack. things got translated, but I know one thing. The Shabbat is still the Shabbat.
Right.
We know that's on the seventh day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We know what a lie is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we still can read this and understand those laws. The laws don't have to get broken down too much. All right? If you want to do them. Those questions come from people who are not interested in the law. You're more interested in other things than the law. I want to hear questions about the law. That's what I want to hear. What makes this unclean? I want to hear questions like that. How to get the blood out? How to get the fat out?
Yeah.
How does a woman count her menstruation cycle?
Yeah.
Where are these questions coming? I want to hear those questions.
Right.
What is Israelites supposed to wear? Or how are a woman supposed to dress? How do we get married? How do we get divorced? How do you prepare for the Sabbath? These are the questions that are supposed to be. Now, I'm not shooting people down for their questions. What I'm saying is you're looking at things that cannot be fixed. What can be fixed is us keeping those commandments. That's what needs to be fixed. Everything else is being done except those commandments. Tom sheet.
Now all the tribes which together revolted.
Now all the tribes was together revolted. Revolt means to go against. To go against. Most of the time, violent. When you go against, when you hear revolt, it's a violent thing. Okay? It's a disrespectful thing when somebody revolts. It's more than just turning away. Yes, things like that. Let's kill Moses and Aaron. That was a revolt. Okay? They said all the tribes was together revolted, and the house of my father Naphtali,
Sacrifice unto the heifer bill.
that's who they sacrificed to. Okay? I told you there was one at Dan, there was one at Beersheba. At both ends. Okay? You ain't going to Jerusalem no more. You're going to go to the heifer bill, the calf. The heifer called a heifer, another word for a young calf, a young female calf. So that calf, and when I checked it out, that calf that was at the foot of Mount Sinai was a heifer, female calf. Okay? Not only was it a calf, it was a female calf. All right? And that's what they've been sacrificing to that for hundreds of years in Israel. Y'all know that, right?
Right.
For hundreds of years in Israel, they were sacrificing that stuff, man. Yeah. Right as soon as Jeroboam established it, every king that came after Jeroboam in Israel, all the way from Jeroboam to Hoshea, okay? All right? None of them served God. All of them served the heifer bill the whole time. God was only being served down in Judah. And then after a while, some of their kings started getting crazy. And that's when God told Babylon, get them out of here too. Because you watched what happened with your brother over here, and you still did worse than him. You watched what happened to him. And you know what? You think you're better than your brother. That's what God told Judah. And now we be thinking the same thing. We ain't here to be in competition with each other, not to serve God. To put each other down and not encourage each other. That's what we here for. To put each other down and not encourage each other. Maybe what you're doing, I'm looking at is strength, but then you put me down. See, that's not what we're here for. We're here to serve God and to show each other and teach each other and encourage each other, not down each other, not shoot each other down.
Not who better who.
I'm not trying. I'm not shooting my brothers in other camps down. We serve the same God.
Right.
But I will show you where you have to be corrected before God in order for us to serve the same God. You have to allow the correction to be there. But we are not to be putting each other down. And I read somewhere where it says we shouldn't be rivals.
Compete.
We shouldn't compete
I'll see Khag.
because we both lose. We're brothers. We're brethren. But I don't care if it's blood brothers, the same mother, same mother, or we're brothers because we serve the same God. We're still brothers. We're brothers, man. There is no competition here. We're all in the same boat. We're all supposed to be doing the same things. Okay? You're strong in certain points. I'm weak at. I'm strong in certain points. You're weak at. And this is where we accommodate each other, not shoot each other down. We don't do that. God don't like that. That's not unity. You think that's unity?
No.
Do you think that's unity?
No.
Okay, then. God said unity amongst brethren is what?
Compared to the oil.
It's compared to what? The ointment, that oil that ran down whose beard? Aaron's beard, down to the skirts of his garment. That's a metaphor. God looked at that. He said, when Aaron got that oil poured on him, God said it was beautiful. It was a beautiful sight for God. And that was compared to brothers dwelling together in unity. So don't never take anything as a shot. We correct each other and we move on. We don't down each other. We don't shoot each other down. And I'm not trying to be better than everybody. That's not that God. God ain't gonna deal with you like that. Because that's pride. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
Our pride has to get cut.
That's right.
Our pride has to get cut in order to do the commandments. We know how to do it. We know what to do. But something's in the way. Pride, vanity. And those things activate your emotion. Okay? So we got to take a look at that, man. We have a lot of pride in us. And look. Your pride will make you say, no, I ain't got no more pride in me. Your pride will make you say that. Yeah. Your pride will make you lie on yourself. Yeah, pride will mess you up. Pride will have you dishonoring who you supposed to, dishonoring your parents. Pride will have you do anything. It puts you, that's what makes you have self-interest. Okay? You put yourself first and how you feel first. Nah. No. And if I'm supposed to be teaching people, I have to watch how I'm teaching. Okay? That's why it's not for everybody. Everybody don't know how to talk to everybody. They say, you know what? Now I'm gonna go to this guy because I go to this guy, man. He gonna rail on me. Right or wrong? Nobody likes getting railed on. Right. All right. So it's a certain. That's why I said, man, look. We got to come with each other with a little bit more love, man, and concern and consideration. That'll show how much you have for God. Yeah. Because if I do you injustice and untruth, I don't love God that much. I'm going to tell you that right now. If I do all of these things to man, I don't serve God. I do what I want to. So and all that got to do with pride. We got to cut that, man. Because that's what got them. That's what got them messed up. God said, you waxed, spat, and you kicked. You know what that means? I gave you everything. I put you on top. I said you was the best. You let it get to your head, and your head got big. And you waxed, spat, meaning you had everything. You got rich. You good now. And you know what you did? You kicked. You kicked at my sacrifice. You kicked at my Lord's. You know how you kick a mangy dog? Man, get out of here, man. That's what you did to God. God said you waxed, spat, and you kicked. Okay? You got rich and you forgot your people. Don't that sound familiar? That's a familiar thing. You know, I heard family members get money. You don't see that this guy get $10 million and became a celebrity. But no. He do all types of things. He go to Europe. He goes feed starving kids. But he got his own family back in Gary, Indiana, okay, going through it. All right? That's an example of wax, spat, and kick. You forgot you forgot the good I did for you. You forgot nobody else looked out for you. I did. That's what God did. God, ain't nobody was looking out for you, man. He said, when I found you, you was wallowing in blood. Your neighbor wasn't even cut. That's another metaphor. Meaning you was abandoned. Meaning somebody had a baby and threw the baby in the garbage. That's how I found you, Israel. You was in the garbage when I found you. Okay? But you never caught what? Nobody cut that navel cord. It was still there. I came in, I cleaned you up. I gave you clean laws. I perfected you and made you upright. God said he made you upright because you wasn't right at the beginning. And what you did, you got in the land and you started having your own ideas. Okay? God said, kill these guys off. Don't do this, don't do that. You started, hey, nah, you can save them alive. I could do this, I could do that. No, we don't have to do that. And guess what happened? We wound up sacrificing them to the heifer bill. He said, but I alone went often to Jerusalem at the feast. Even though everybody else went over there at the big party, Tobit said, nah, I ain't going over there. I'm going where God told me to go, where I'm supposed to be. And he went alone. He was the only person out of his tribe. He was the only person out of his whole tribe that did not go. He went to Jerusalem at the feast. The feast as it was ordained unto all the people of Israel. Ordained means ordered. Come from the word order. These are orders. The Shabbat, observing of the Shabbat is an order. These feast days, what we read in Leviticus 23 and what you read in Deuteronomy 14, those are orders. They have orders ordained, okay, by God unto all the people of Israel. Okay? I was reading something the other day, right? And it was a question there. And it says, does everybody have to live by the Old Testament? And you know what the answer said? No. Only the children of Israel were required to live those commandments. The world know that these commandments ain't for them. The heathen know that these commandments are not for them. Because of the answer I saw, I said, wow. It said, no, it was for those people that God ordered. And they're right, because God only ordered them. He said, unto all the people of Israel, not the people of the world. The world then got wicked on God and was not to turn back. Israel got to play because of Abraham, one man. So good, guess what? You guys have to do it. The world ain't got to do it. You ain't got to go there, but look at them. Look at all of them heathen. Leave them alone. They are not supposed to serve God. You are. Makes sense now, don't it? Tom sheet.
As it was ordained unto all the people of Israel by an everlasting decree, having the first fruits and tenth of increase,
The tights.
with that which was first sown, and them gave I at the altar to the priests, the children of Aaron.
That's what you do. You take a tenth of what you made. That tenth, that's tax. That's 10% of what you made. That is what you give to the priest. You bring that to the priest, and some of that, you take a tenth, some of that, and wave before. He'll wave the fruits before God. He'll take this, and they eat. Okay? That's how the priests get to eat. When the people bring their tents to God, okay? That's why the priests don't have to go out. He's not allowed to go out of the grounds of the temple. He stays within the temple. The economy and everything and how it got built up, God did that. So when the people started sacrificing to the heifer bill and they stopped bringing up their tents, the priests don't get to eat no more. There's no more sacrifices going down. And now they got to leave out of there and abandon the temple. And that's what happened. Time sheet. Verse
The
7.
first 10 part of all increase I gave to the sons of Aaron,
Uh-huh.
who ministered at Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
Another 10 part I sold away and went,
Uh-huh.
and spent it every year at Jerusalem.
Right.
And the third I gave unto them to whom it was meet, as Deborah my father's mother has commanded me, because I was left an orphan by my father.
He was left an orphan by his father. His father died when he was young. So his father's mother, which you call your grandmother today, commanded him. His grandmother commanded him. Your grandfather commands you. You better listen. That's your mother's parents or your father's parents. You got to honor them too. What's the problem? Back in the days when it come to grandma and grandpa, man, kids forget everything else. And it's all about grandma and grandpa. Now, today, I see it ain't about grandma and grandpa no more. It's about them now. They don't want to listen to God. They don't want to. I'm talking about the children, teenagers, all y'all in y'all 20s, all you young ones. Y'all don't like listening to your parents. Y'all ain't listening to God. Y'all don't listen to your grandparents. Y'all don't listen to your uncles. Y'all don't listen to your aunts. Y'all don't listen to your older brothers. Y'all don't listen to your older sisters. Y'all don't listen to nobody. That's what I got to say about the youth. Y'all don't like to listen. You got a lot to say. That's the problem with the young ones. Okay? And the reason why it's like that is because the parents are not right before God. And we are showing our children it's okay to not be right before God. And guess who's the first person they shoot it back at? You. You created a monster.
Okay.
The first person that Frankenstein monster killed was Dr. Frankenstein. Okay? Dr. Frankenstein made the monster. When that monster woke up, he killed him. That was the first one he killed. And you're doing that with your children. Make them listen. Or you're going to lose your children to the ways of the heathen. Okay? If you didn't lose them already. Because that's what's happening. That's what's happening. It's a fight now to keep the kids towards God. Look, even if you are a good example, right or wrong,
Right.
even when you are a good example, that don't guarantee you're going to have one or two kids that going to go and say, man, I belong over here. And they're going to go to the church. And I ain't never taught you that. How come the kid in church don't want to come around here? How come they don't want to come here? And that's all they knew was Jake. They hear about this and they like, man, I'm staying over here with Jake. But we want to go over there. We always want to go over there. They've been going over there since the beginning of time. Watch yourselves. It's real easy to wind up serving another God. So my Abba told me.
That's right.
It's real easy. You'll be sitting in here thinking you ain't thinking you serving God, but the things you do and the practices you keep, you serve another God. And he don't recognize you because you don't recognize him. That's how God works. You got to recognize God first. Acknowledge God first. Give it up, man. It's not, break yourself. Break that spirit that keeps you from humbling to God and his commandments. Because that's what's going to bring, look, man, Spirit of God. Spirit of God. Ain't nobody getting that now. Ain't nobody getting that now like them. Nobody's getting that. You don't even need the evil spirit because you're already there. We went past all that, man. That was for them because they were holy people. We ain't no holy people, man. And that's the problem. You have to acknowledge. First, you got to know what is holy, what is right. You got to know these things. And then when you hear definitions, you hear, oh, man, wait a minute. That's admit it to yourself. So you know what? That's me. I like to do that. Or me, I have done that before. Or I have thought that in my head about somebody before. So that means I got that in me. So that means I got to practice getting that out of me. Nobody's doing that. All we doing is this. Right. And who we pointing at is doing this. Nobody getting nothing done. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I see. Okay? We got to cut all that out now. Do it. Do it. Do everything you know. Get it done. And then you will be a God who will work with you and put a spirit on you to where you will see certain things everybody else ain't seeing. Because it's not meant for everybody to do. I told you what the definition said. No, everybody is not meant to do what is in the Old Testament. It was only for the Israelites. But we want the world to do God's law. And that's the problem. God already said, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. There's already a sentence going out. There's already a day of judgment going out. There's already a day that this earth will be, all right? It's already in the books for it to go down. So we have to start worrying about yourself with God. Yes, you can be selfish with that. Yeah, make sure you good with God first before anything else. He said, the third I gave them unto whom it was meet, as the glory of my father's mother had commanded me, because I was left an orphan by my father. He said, furthermore, when I was come to the age of a man, I married Anna of my own kindred, meaning she was out the same tribe that he was out of. He said, and of her I begot Tobias. He said, and we were carried away captives to Nineveh, all my brethren and those that were of my kindred did eat of the bread of the Gentiles. Now, the bread of the Gentiles is their food. Okay? They're not eating their own food now. Now, you captives, see, like, so that's like today, you go to jail. You get crap, you go to jail, you can't eat that food that's in it. You can't eat that food that's in it. That's the food of the Gentiles. Okay? And so, Tobit is sitting there, and he's looking, and now while they're being changed and put into slavery, the people are eating unclean stuff. They're eating with the blood, with the fat. Tobit didn't eat. He said, I kept myself from eating because I remembered God with all my heart. This is what will save you. This is what breaks down your pride. It could be eating, whatever else it is. So you know it to be wrong against God. Keep yourself from doing it and remember God with all your heart. They show us how to keep ourselves with God. Believe me, he was hungry. That's why he had to keep himself from eating. Y'all get it? Do you guys get it?
That's right.
He was in a situation where he couldn't find nothing clean to eat. So he had to keep himself from eating because he remembered God with all his heart. And these are the things that God will remember you for. Because he sacrificed. Man, look, if I eat, said, man, but you going to die? He said, well, look, man, I'd rather die than eat that. I would rather die than do this. I would rather die than break this commandment. That's where every commandment has to be considered that way now. I would rather die than put on mingle clothes. I would rather die than lie. I would rather die than because that's how they was. Okay?
Right.
That's how they was. He said, the Most High gave me grace because he didn't eat. And he remembered God in his heart. God seen that and allowed him to have favoritism and a special eye when the overseer, the officers, the police, the king, whoever's authority over you, they go, you serve God. Now they're going to be, you know what? Not you. Oh, You good. You don't have to do that. I don't know you, but for some reason I like him. God do that. God did that. God made me like this guy because he serves God. Do you understand how you work?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care where you at. You can serve God, but you got to show that sacrifice. You got to show him, no, I'm ready to go all out, man. If I got to die for this. Now you're on it. Now he got you. He said, because I remember God with my whole heart. In verse 13, And the Most High gave me grace
and favor before Enemisar,
Uh-huh.
so that I was his purveyor.
See, you know what? Get him out of there. You're going to have him be my purveyor. He's going to work for me now. So he don't have to go through what the rest of the Israelites going through. You know why? Because he didn't eat the food that they ate.
The purveyor is someone that's
Okay.
provision.
Okay? So he's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He's in charge of what they call today, what they call that? Inventory. He's in charge of inventory. He's in charge of the provisions. He's in charge of the stock. He's in charge of the economy. Who was that? Joseph got the same charge. He was in charge of the storehouses. You become like the second in command. When it comes to the purse of the king, he got to go to him. That's his accountant, you might say. All right? Same thing happened to Joseph. Why? Because Joseph did not lie down with that woman. He didn't lie down with her. And look. He could have. Nobody would have saw. God would have saw them. And that was who he did. That he was like, oh, no. He said, I can't do this thing and sin before God.
Mm-hmm.
First I sin before God, and then I trespass against my master. He's my master. You are wife to my master. I'm the help. You're not supposed to be looking at me, woman. You're not supposed to be looking at no other man but your husband. You're not supposed to be paying attention to no other man but your husband. That's why things happen when they ain't supposed to happen. Because your attention is somewhere else. Now you want to lay down with this young man, but he's a man of God. He ain't going to do it. Look, he ran. There was nothing else to do but run. You know, he couldn't call out for nobody because nobody was there. She sent everybody out. And look what she do. Cry rape. She cried out rape. Hey, no, he tried to put himself on me. Now the man is in trouble. You can't look. It's not good to be left alone with another man's wife anywhere. Get out of the area. Get out of the room. Get out of the apartment. It's not good. Okay? People have maybe going to do right or wrong. We're reading things that happen. Sometimes the woman or the man cannot be trusted by themselves with other people. Mm-hmm. She couldn't be trusted. Look what she did. Got the man put in the dungeon. All that was of God, though. All that was of God. Tell she.
And I went into Media and left in trust with Gabal, the brother of Gabrius, at Rades, a city of Media, 10 talents of silver. Now when Enemisar was dead, Sennacherib his son reigned in his stead, whose estate was troubled, that I could not go into Media.
Finish that.
And then,
no. Leave that and go to chapter 2.
Now when I come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me, with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost, which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks.
That's today. They call it Pentecost because it means 50. You know what I'm saying? 7 weeks. 49 days. 7 weeks. On the 50th day
is called Shavuote. This is the feast of weeks of agricultural means. Meaning, from the time the morrow after the Sabbath, we started counting the Omer until this day. There's whatever was planted then, we get to get it up now. Okay, so God said on the 50th day, y'all have a holy convocation. So they're not now. They have a holy convocation, and after that, it's feast time. Y'all know what a feast is? The food don't run out. Y'all know what a feast is? You ain't got to go in there and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to eat just half of mine now. Save it for later, right? I ain't got to do that. Right. I ain't got to go in there and say, is there any left? Yeah, let me take some out for later. Because then if I go back, ain't going to be nothing. That's not a feast. A feast, you could leave, come back the next day, come back that night. There's still nothing has depleted. Nothing ran out. So today now, we don't have it like that. And see, no, we don't have it like that. That's why we got to do what we do today. You crazy, man? We ain't got, look, you're talking about the people who did not have to go to other people to buy their food. All the food we have here today, we buy it. We don't grow none of it. Not an apple or fruit. You got to go downstairs and go buy that. We don't. There's nothing in our backyard. We don't have a backyard. We don't have farms. There's rats back there. That's what we got in the backyard. Rats and possums and skunks. Because we didn't follow God's law. So all of them things got taken from us. All your property. Okay, your estates. That's the income. I went to Jerusalem with a tenth of everything I grew. I got olives, I got apples, I got this, I got wheat, I got all types of grain. I got a caravan of stuff. I ain't, man, and you got, and he got, and millions got. There is a peace, and it ain't gonna deplete. So today, what we have is what he had today. He said, in the Feast of Pentecost, which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks, there was a good dinner prepared me, in which I sat down to eat. He said, a good dinner. That's what we have today. Good dinners. Yeah, and it'd be good. It'd be real good. And we do that to commemorate and show God. We was in the land. This dinner we have would have been a feast before you. Because God said, you come here, and what you think we do there? We rejoice before him. We party. But it's before him. The same way people do with the idol. Where you think they got a lot of ways in worship and of the idol, they got from here. But God will tell you how to pray to him, how to worship to him, what to say to him. Everything is in here. We don't have to make up nothing. Time sheet.
But he came again and said, Father, one of our nation is strangled and is cast out in the marketplace.
See, he said, when I saw abundance of meat, I said to my son, go and bring what poor man soever thou shalt find of our brethren. Now, this is why I personally, homeless people in the street, I don't give them nothing. I don't give them nothing. No food. No, it's just one guy because I know him. I know him. There's only one dude. And because I know him, it's not, you know what I'm saying? I will give him $1 or $2 here. I know this guy. Okay? Everybody else, mister, can you please look, get away from me. I'm sorry. I ain't got it. No, I don't have it. I'm not giving you nothing. Because you are not my brother. You are not my sister. You don't serve God, the same God I serve. When I give you, you're going to bless me in the name of Jake. And I'm not going to, look. So I don't like it. So I don't, that's the main reason why I don't do it. Because they so say, I don't want to be blessed in the name of an idol. Don't bless me. So I know that's what's going to be the reaction. I don't do it. Now, a brother of mine that need, he got it. It's nothing. Oh man, but he shaved it. I will give it to him before I give it to somebody out there. Y'all see the difference? Just because he served God, maybe he's going to stop shaving in a year. You don't know that. But he served the same God I serve. He gets a pass. He can get. They ain't getting nothing from me. Nothing. Because I see this is how they did it. He said, go and bring what poor man soever thou shalt find out of our brethren. You have to make it clear. First, you got to find our brethren, our people. That's poor. All right? Who is mindful of the Lord. And lo, I tarry for thee. So first it got to be of the same our kind, and then now they got to be mindful of God too. Meaning they got to be holding it down with the laws while they're out there like we are. They got to be on the same level. He said, other than that, don't bring nobody here. He said, I'm gonna wait for you. Tamshi, verse 3.
But he came again and said, Father, one of our nation is strangled and is cast out in the marketplace.
Wow.
Then before I tasted of any meat, I started up, and I took him up into a room until the going down of the sun.
You see what happened, man? Yo, we ain't got nothing to cry about, man. We ain't got nothing to cry about. It's eased up now because we fall away from God. You see what was going on? He said, the son came in and said, Father, one of our nation, one of our Israelites, one of our people is out in the street, dead, hung, strangled, okay? And is cast out in the marketplace. You know the marketplace? It's squares. Everybody's there. Everybody's there for everybody to see. People walking and stepping over him, and moving and spitting on him because they hated us. Okay? Toshi.
Then I returned and washed myself and ate my meat in heaviness.
He said, then before I tasted of any meat, before I tasted of any of my food, I got up. He said he went and took him and put him in a room until the sun went down. He went out there and got the body and brought him in the house and put him in the back room, closed the door, and he left there. And then he came and he washed himself because he touched the dead body. Okay? Right. He said, and he ate his meat in heaviness. Meaning, he was sad. He ate his food. It was a sad occasion. It was sad, man. It was sad because of what he just witnessed. One of our own people. You're going to be mad. You're not going to be happy about it. He said, remembering that prophecy of Amos. Now, if that man, they see that prophecy of Amos, the book of Amos, he read that too. Tobit read that same book too. The same way you read that book of Amos, and it says, make not mention of the Lord. He read it, and he goes by it too. So what's wrong with us today? I'm just showing you guys for an example. This man named Tobit that we're reading about, way after a lot of things in the Old Testament, in the book of Amos, he's talking about it. And he remembered, because in it said, your feast shall be turned into mourning and all your mirth into lamentation. He remembered what he read. I remember what I read in the prophecy, and that's why this and it's happening in front of my eyes. That's how you know you in. He looked, he's sitting down, he said, damn, God told us our feast is going to turn into mourning. That's why sometimes stuff break out. It's supposed to be a happy occasion when everybody get together, but it don't be most of the time. God prophesies it, man. Sometimes it ain't nobody's fault. God prophesied it's got to happen. Something got to happen. Okay? God controls time. He controls future events, all of that. And I read this. I said, wow. It really hit me. Because I read that same book like he did. And he remembered. So we have to read this book and go by it, like Tobit did. Tamshi.
Therefore I wept.
He cried,
After the going down of the sun, I went and made a grave and buried
You
it.
see that? He cried. He didn't have a good. He had a good dinner. You know, Shavuote. Shavuote. He didn't get to do none of that. But it went down that way because God already prophesied it. Y'all gonna want to have a good feast. Y'all gonna want to do this. You're gonna want to observe the Shabbat. Mm-hmm. But nah, you're gonna be in a place that I put you where you're limited. You're limited, if anything, and you're gonna have to deal with that. Because when you had it, when I gave it to you, you didn't want to serve me. You didn't want to do the Shabbat. You didn't want to do these feast days. You wanted to follow them. So guess what? I kicked you out amongst them. Now you're gonna when you go over there in the land of your enemies, you're gonna want to do the law. God told them that. He didn't believe. They didn't believe him. Tamshi.
But my neighbors mocked me and said, "This man is not yet afraid to be put to death for this matter, who fled away, and yet lo, he buried the dead again."
That's why you gotta watch what you do out there. People will tell on you. Okay? Listen to me, y'all. People do not like you. You do not serve the same God as them. Automatically, they hate you. They'll smile in your face, but they don't like you. Okay? They would do anything to see you go down. They will snitch on you. That's what they doing. They say, look, this guy here. And then they mocked him. They mocked him. See, anytime you do something correct before God and people look at it like you did something wrong, that's a mock also.
That's a fact.
So when law is being pronounced and the people disassemble in their heart, you're not mocking the person that's bringing out the law. You are mocking God. You got to watch it. When you go against, you're mocking also. When I make fun of you, I'm mocking you. When I go against the authority, I'm mocking their order. Okay? You got to watch that. If I say, I don't want nobody to touch this, and you come and say, man, forget what Mick said. I did it. You mocking me. You mocking me. You throwing down my word. So you got to watch it because you can mock in so many different ways. He said, but my neighbors mocked me and said, this man is not yet afraid to be put to death for this matter. What they saying is, yo, man, you got banished for doing this. And here you go, you still doing it again. You didn't get it yet. That's what the neighbors are saying. He said, you fled away and now you burying the dead again. But he don't care because that's his people. That's my brothers. Y'all can say what y'all want. But now look, they're going to tell. He said, the same night also I returned from the burial and slept by the wall of my courtyard, being polluted, and my face was uncovered. He said he just slept, being polluted, meaning dealing with the dead body. He was so tired too. You know, you ever dug a grave? And then had dig the grave, put the body in, and then cover it back up by yourself. That's work. I know it's work. I know it's work. I got a taste of what that was like. Just halfway. Tamshi.
Tobit chapter 2, verse 10. And I knew not that there were sparrows in the wall, and mine eyes being open. The sparrows muted warm dung into mine eyes, and the whiteness came into mine eye.
So he's lying down against the wall. He got his head like this. But he didn't know up there were sparrows, were birds. And y'all know what birds do. Okay? You can't stand too close to the wall of a building or under a fire escape. Wherever there's birds, they're gonna make some hot on you. Species gonna drop. Yeah. And you know, a lot of times people sleep with their eyes open. Or he probably didn't go to sleep. Yeah, he had his eyes open. He was just like this. But it's nighttime. You can't see that those walls are very tall. Okay? And he didn't see it. And when the dung fell into his eyes and it blinded him. Okay? And he said, I went to the physicians, meaning he went to doctors. Back then, at that time, they had doctors. Okay? At this time, they had doctors.
In the wall, and mine eyes being opened, the sparrows muted warm dung into mine eyes, and the whiteness came into mine eyes. And I went to the physician, but they helped me not. Moreover, Achiacaris did nourish me until I went into Elamaze. And my wife Hannah did take woman's work to do. And when she had sent them home to the owners, they paid her wages and gave her also besides a kid.
A lot of times, woman's work was most of the time sewing into weaving thing. It was either that or cleaning, and she wasn't a maid. She wasn't that person's maid. So she made something. 9 times out of 10, she weaved a garment, blanket, something like that. Those were women's works. Those were works that women do. Okay? And they paid her wages. They paid her money for it, right? Plus a goat. A kid is a young goat. Right? So they gave her extra, right or wrong.
Right.
They paid her extra. So it's usually 10 shekels, but today they gave her 10 shekels and a kid, right?
Right. And when it was in my house, it began to cry. I said unto her, from whence is this kid? Is it not stolen? Render it to the owner, but it is not lawful to eat anything that is stolen.
That's just how we find out the ways of God. Okay? From what God say to in the book, and from how they deal in their everyday life, the ones that serve God. He said, is it not stolen? He said, look, he said, where did this kid come from? You got to always, especially today. You see back then how he was? He said, yo, where is this kid come from? He said, yo, it could have been stolen. He said, take it back to the owners. Take it back to the owners. He said, for it is not lawful to eat anything that is stolen. You know what that means, man? Look, give that back. You didn't earn that. He said, render it to the owner. Because it's stolen. That thing is stolen. Give it back to the owner. Right? He said, for it is not lawful. So you got to watch. It is not lawful to eat, wear anything, buy anything. You can't buy stuff from freelancers. Go to the store and buy your stuff. Okay? People be coming in and say, hey, you buying something out here? Yeah. Well, why? He said, come here. I swipe people back. No. I don't do none of that. What they want is, they got food stamps, right? And whatever I'm buying, I give them the money, and they take the swipe it with the book. No. I don't know whose card you got. I don't know if that's your card. I don't know if there's a lot of scamming going on, swiping, all that stuff. I don't play with that because it could be stolen. We don't buy anything that could be stolen. There's a guy walking down the street. And he's like, yo, man, I got glasses. I got this, I got that. Nah, I'm good, bro. We don't buy from that. That stuff is stolen. Trust me, he stole it. You cannot. Okay? You got to pay to go in the store and pay the full price. All right? Time sheet.
But she replied upon me, it was given for a gift more than the wages. Howbeit, I did not believe her, but bade her
she said it was given for a gift. He said, look, when you get to a certain point of serving God, you don't trust nothing. You don't take no chances with nothing. When in doubt, do without. He said, no. She said it was a gift. She said this was a gift. More than the wages. This had nothing to do with the wages. This was a gift. He said, nah, I didn't. He said, I didn't believe her. He said, but I bade her render it to the owners, and I was abashed at her. He said, I was ashamed. I was embarrassed at her. Like, come on, how could you do that? You know where I'm at with it. We don't know where they got that kid from. Sometimes people give you stuff, say, hey, man, where you get this from? Say, man, don't worry about it. Say, nah, I'm going to worry about it. You ain't gonna give me a gift that you stole. You stole something, and you want to give me a gift. People do that. That's why he said that. The man was correct, and he taught her something. You don't take everything, every gift. You gotta ask. You gotta ask where it came from today. Okay, so that's why he said take it back. He said to the owners, but she replied upon me. Look, wise woman. She said, "Where are thine alms and thy righteous deeds?" He said, "Behold, thou and all thy works are known." You know what that means? She said, in other words, all your works are known. All your works are right amongst God and man. Could never do that. Mm-hmm. That's what that means. You there, I'm not going to ever allow nothing like that to happen either. And that's how the wife is supposed to be. She's supposed to back her husband up in serving God. And then that's how you have a marriage that lasts long. We gotta be on the same page. But you don't eat nothing that's stolen. You don't buy nothing that's stolen. You don't want to have nothing to do. You don't want to have nothing stolen in your house. That's an abomination also. And before I step down, I just want to let you know the commandments are 613 laws. Okay? 248 is positive. When you go against that, you go against your bloodstream. Your bloodstream. It affects your bloodstream. The positive commands are thou shalt. When you break that, okay, that's when your blood starts acting different. You get iron deficiency. That's when heart strokes. Okay? Okay? And then now 365 negative. Okay? 365 days in a year. See, God, his laws connected with us. This world, this planet, it's all here. Okay? And those, look, the 365 negative, the thou shalt not, when you don't go against that, it affects your organs. That's right. Your brain. This is why people are getting cancers. This is why people get, what's that thing when you forget? Dementia. It's more than just the sugar and the foods we eat. It's because the foods you ain't supposed to be eating, you're going against the negative or the positive. The positive affects your bloodstream, the negative affects your organs. And these laws, these 613 laws, covers all aspects of daily life, including family, spiritual hygiene, which is clean and unclean, and most of all, diet. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem. Shalom.
You got it there, right? No, that's it. You had that for years. I had to find mine, right, Lodge?